Hey, welcome to a very special episode of Just Shoot It. This is episode 508, and I'm Matt Unlow.
And I'm Oren Kaplan, and we are doing our year-end panel. You know, we do this every year. We bring a few of our favorite recent interviewees on the podcast. Last year we had Maureen Baruch and Roxy Shih. This year we have Mercedes Bryce Morgan and Jamaal. Carlyn is kind of joining us, co-hosting, as she sometimes does. And we
mostly just side eye with me, which is
mainly being
well
curmudgeon-y.
Yeah.
But she's really good at it.
Yeah.
And
she's like fully Jim from The Office at this point.
Yes. And I did mean to say this the entire podcast. I mean, we never did, but we recorded this the night before I had my colonoscopy. And if I say anything crazy, it's because I hadn't eaten anything other than
sugar
clear
below.
liquids.
And
like
if you hear any
28
strange
hours.
audio edits, or rather, if you don't notice any audio edits, kudos to Kevin, our editor, for cutting out all of Oren's obnoxious farts.
And there's a lot of gastrointestinal stuff that happens. But yeah, it's a really fun conversation. I think a good review of 2025 and somewhat optimistic, somewhat pessimistic. Yeah. Would you say, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how positive versus negative do you think
I would say that we always tend to ask positive guests. And so even when the years are hard, like this one was for many people, we're trying to find, not just to be a Pollyanna, but to like, this show is about hope. This show is about progress. This show is about people building their dream careers. And so it is certainly going to skew positive. We talk about the negatives, right? But I think that we do them through the lens of how can we adjust, how can we progress, how can we incorporate, say, AI into our lives in a way that is going to be helpful rather than doom and gloom, for sure. This is about people like who want to set intentions for a new year and for another great year as filmmakers.
Yeah, I watched Marty Supreme last night, and there's a moment where he's like very much at his low point in the story, and he's asked by another character, like, what's your backup plan? Like, what if you never make it as, his championship ping pong player? And he says to her, that thought has never even entered my brain.
That's Chalamet, just a method acting right there.
Yeah. And I feel like our guests are kind of have that same attitude. Like, whether the year is good or bad, there's no like real option to like do something else.
Yeah. Down for the cause. This episode, traditionally it's been a little boozy. It's been a little crosstalky. It's meant to feel like a little bit like, what if we all, like, you were at the Just Shoot It cocktail party and you were at, a great corner of the room having a good conversation with filmmakers. This year, we carry that spirit through. However, it is more structured. A little
less boozy.
Yeah.
Which I apologize. I can, again, on account of this colonoscopy, can partake. We had a member that maybe wasn't so healthy. Also didn't want to drink, but we were in person. So that's a rare occasion. I wonder if people will hear that. Maybe from the cross-contamination of the microphones.
Sure. Kudos to Kevin once again. And so if you are curious about watching an episode on YouTube, this would be an interesting one. It is unlike most of our formats where I think we're looking off camera. I realize now I wish that we had been more thoughtful about the angle of our webcams so that we would be catching more eyes as people are talking, because people tend to look across the table to one another more.
I know. I'm in profile like 90% of the time. The only time I'm in a good angle is when I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming will cut out most of that stuff.
Yeah. Never happens. Anyway, check it out. It should be really fun. This episode is a really fun tradition. And I think I always try to listen to the previous years in anticipation of doing this. And I think this one's going to be really special and fun. It feels really good. So.
Okay. Let us know what you think. And we're going to start. I made a little treatment. It's only 50 pages. I'm going to present it to you guys. I'm going to go real fast.
50 right
long. If you have any questions,
we'll stop downloading. So the gifts are pretty heavy.
A couple of the gifts are, not playing. Okay. We're here with our awesome panel. Thank you guys for coming.
Welcome, guys.
I'm going to introduce you guys real quick. You guys can guess who I'm talking about. She or he is a podcast favorite.
It's me.
She's a podcast favorite, a commercial director, feature writer. She's developed features with Netflix, directed a ton of commercials, and screened way too many things at South by Southwest. She's a proud
Mercedes.
Put your hands together for now.
A proud member of the WGA. She's worked with everyone from Cardi B.
I was at $105 at the moment. I just got a letter.
You got $105 from the WGA?
No, I owe them. I am delinquent.
Cool. She's worked with Cardi B, Travis Kelce, Whitney Cummings, and a bunch of other people. It's Carlyn Hudson.
Yay. Welcome back to the show.
Okay, he's one half of the directing duo Jams Bash. Did you guys remove the and?
No, it's still Jams and Bash, but branding wise, it's just Jams Bash. It's
Precursor to the brand.
Yeah.
He's one half of the directing duo Jams and Bash and a master of brand storytelling. His work combines comedy with magical realism, soul, and an eye for the human experience. I took that from you.
Thank you.
Along with Bash, he's directed 2 seasons of Pause with Sam J for HBO, and has shot commercials for every brand you ever thought might be cool. Among the list of up-and-comers he's directed are Will Smith, Robert De Niro, Kevin Hart, Jake Gyllenhaal, Bryan Cranston, and Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, I think we're going to hear good things from those guys.
Yeah.
They are...
Fingers crossed.
Will Smith is going to... I feel like there's...
One day. He just need that one role.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you guys listen? There's a podcast episode about how tall Jake Gyllenhaal is.
Yeah.
No, but I must listen.
Yeah, because the Wikipedia and IMDb, there's a lot of mystery around how tall he is.
I will say he seems to relish the mystery. And finally, she's the first person to really put Oren, which is me, in his place. When she beat him out on a big pitch, he was 100% sure he would win.
This is the evidence that I didn't have time to note.
I love how this is true.
Don't cut this.
It's personal. I'm trying to personalize our relationship with
What's the
strangers.
What is it?
It was a while ago. She's directed countless commercials, feature films, and music
Also, it
videos.
definitely wasn't the first time you were beat out on a pitch.
No,
The only time he's
no,
never
that was
been
like
beat
way
since.
before I did commercials or anything.
Sure.
Before I like knew about the competition of directing.
Yeah.
And this was like 9 years
He was
ago,
one
right?
that stung.
It was at least
Like,
9 years ago.
Certainly wasn't the first.
Well, I didn't even really realize that they were talking to multiple directors, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was one, you know, when we all started, when College Humor calls you back in the day,
Right.
and they're like, hey, we have this sketch. Do you want to meet about it? You're not like, oh, you don't
Like,
realize
well,
they're
just-
talking to 100 other people.
Right. You didn't say bid pool at the time.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I do think Mercedes had some advantages over me.
Just like brains.
Just
Exactly.
her take was good.
Well, no, I think
Or funnier.
I think she.
I have no parents in the film industry.
No, I think she knew some things about the project that I didn't.
And like,
So she read the script.
It doesn't matter how this stuff works. But other than reading scripts, she's directed music videos for Marshmello, Idina Menzel, Todrick Hall. She's a master of genres, horror, sci-fi, interactive. I think that's a genre because I feel like you are kind of a pioneer of that genre. Teen stuff and just batshit sexy stuff. She's had movies at TIFF, and her most recent movie, Bone Lake, came out in theaters nationwide, and it should be on Netflix right now. This comes out in January. Of everyone here today, I think you're the one that can most comfortably claim to have billions of organic online views of your work. Mercedes Bryce Morgan.
and for listeners at home, this is our first time doing this show on camera.
Oh, yeah. Oh, should I be facing?
You play to the camera a little bit. I realized it's fun because Carlyn and I always toss each other glances. Now people get to see that in real life, so we can be laughing at you. Or
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And once again, I could say, this is on camera. I never seen
Well, this is the first time show on
Yeah.
camera.
Tell me you didn't wear that camo t-shirt.
Yeah, fashion camo, whatever. I'm from Texas, so that's not it. I don't feel
The uniform.
Yeah, it's the uniform.
Anyhow, we're so excited to have you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about like this past year, 2025, and then the upcoming year, 2026, and probably not even touch on 2027. So I hope you guys are cool with that.
We'll see.
So should we just kind of dive right in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we asked all of you, including ourselves, what a change or trend in the industry over the past year has been that's affected how you guys do work. And who should we go to first? Mercedes? You answered first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're the most.
Well, yeah.
Well,
One of the biggest things I've seen is because we're in such a weird place theatrically in movies coming out and how they make money now is that the amount of value that cast used to have and what that equal to budgets is not the same anymore. And so all these indie budgets are getting a lot tighter, but you still have to have A-list. And so it's interesting because you're seeing a lot of smaller budget movies that still have to have them to go. And I think it's a very unique place to be in.
and that's like that's changing like how you're putting movies together.
Yeah, I mean, it's changing how I think everybody's putting movies together because you're seeing even these A-list directors do stuff for much smaller budgets than they used to. And so across the board. And so I think everyone's like, why did I do this feature at this budget? Now I'm doing this one. But you realize that everyone's doing it.
You feel like
because
people of a certain level feel like they're regressing a little bit, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if regressing is a really negative way to think about it.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that like it's just everyone is just having to do things in a way that they're not used to.
Sure.
tighter.
Well, look,
Yeah.
money goes further in a certain sense, but also in another sense, it does not at all.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, it sounds like maybe some of those creature comforts, not even necessities, are kind of like going away. You're shooting fewer
Totally.
days.
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
Less prep time, all of that stuff.
Yeah, or even the fact where horror films used to be something where you didn't have to have known talent, but now there's so many horror films that a lot of the horror projects I'm on or things that I see is you still have to have name talent. And a couple of years ago, people were like, this is the only genre you don't have to, and it's not the case anymore.
Can you throw out some general numbers of what we're talking about here?
I think the thing is that it's different for everybody. So it's hard to say because it's per the project, but it's more so of just you would see someone and you go, oh my God, their rate for a project, like they won't get out of bed for $1 million. Like 5 million is low for them. But even if that person's on the project, they can't have that rate basically because the value doesn't equal that.
Yeah.
But do you think, and this might be like a bigger conversation about theatrical versus like streaming or whatever, but do you think that only really matters if you're trying to get people to theaters? Like if it's going to be a tile on Netflix.
Oren, you literally told me you watched a movie because of a star like yesterday.
Oh yeah, who was it?
Oh, Al Fanning in Sentimental Value. So Oren watches an art film, right? Like
Yeah.
a foreign art
It's
film.
a foreign film, which we
foreign
call
art
art films in America.
Well, but both, right? And you're like, oh, I'll watch this because you recognize them.
You love Elle Fanning.
yeah.
That's great. That's great, man.
Dakota sucks, but L.
Of the Fannings.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to your question, I don't think it's just theatrical because whenever we're getting these projects funded, it's not even a question of we don't know whether it's going to be theatrical or not, but it's still necessary to have value talent.
I mean, we're developing a movie at a streamer right now that has a big star in it, and they're still like, "What else you got?"
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And it's like
Like in terms of cast, you're talking
in
about?
terms of cast, and it's like this is a movie that came in under a company that has a deal. You know what I mean? And it's like the movie has to be made at a certain price point in a certain amount of days, but they're still looking for like, what other value can you add to this? And it's like, yeah, we know where this is going already. You know what I mean? And it's I think it's just the way that the business has changed. It's like how many faces can you fit on the tile, or how many times can that tile change over?
Sure.
And we can hit different sections of different people's algorithm.
Yeah. And what's weird about it too is no one has the same metric for value. So you'll talk to one financing source and they're like, this person, super international value. And you're like, I'm never heard
Four
of this
sips
person.
of wine in, I'm
Yes.
going to say this is
Yes.
the truth. They're cowards.
Oh, 100%.
That's it.
Like,
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's
no one wants to get fired.
How can you hedge your bet? Okay, like if you had Brad Pitt in the movie and it fails, no one blames you for it. Right. So everything is kind of calibrated off of that, and it's all just kind of watering things down until you get to, your C or D.
Didn't
Right.
2 Sydney Sweeney films fail this year?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
But one ad totally blew up.
exactly.
Yeah. Oren, I like the cut of your
wearing an I8.
Yeah, I feel like they're back here.
Yeah. I truly tried to get the director of that spot to come on the podcast.
And they said no.
He said, what else you got?
They did say no. But yeah, I mean, I guess to me, like, the reason I asked about the theatrical thing is because that is a real challenge. Like, how do you get, people, unless it's like a Disney movie or like there's something to it. Like, it's really, really hard to get someone to go to the movie theater and pay money. But it's not as hard if everyone hears that, what's the movie, the Wonder TV show on Netflix? Adolescence. Everyone hears that. There's no one that we've heard of in Adolescence. Maybe if you're British, you have. But why everyone's talking about it, and you're like, it's very easy for me to try it out, and from my couch. So I feel like, like Mercedes' movie, Bone Lake, like once it hits Netflix, like once the buzz goes, it doesn't really matter who's in
But
it.
Yeah.
it's also like how are the streamers, and not to get too deep into this, but how are they counting a view? You know what I mean?
Sure.
A movie theater counts a view if somebody has to pay like $20, $30 to sit down and watch an entire movie.
Yeah.
Like Netflix is like a couple minutes, you know what I mean?
And also you're on your phone.
And you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's very, the metrics are also skewed to make it like the game's rigged. You know what I mean? It looks like it's easier to watch because
you could literally fall asleep on your couch and watch 3 episodes, and that all counts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it also brings up Netflix is, and all these streamers are working their hardest to be this, the biggest, most general consumption mainstream service that they could possibly be, right? Like they want literally every single person to subscribe to Netflix and to watch the show. And Oren, I was giving you a hard time about Sentimental Value, but we had this conversation, and it reminded me of like when I first got started, I was really obsessed with the idea of like not trying to appeal to everyone, but knowing specifically who I was trying to appeal to. And I think that when you take away the theatrical model, all of a sudden those movies just have a lot harder of a chance because they're in the pile with everything else, right? Whereas like I could market a theatrical movie and get $20 or $30 from people who are going to love it. Yeah, it's not literally every single person in the country. That's a very small sector, but those people are going to love it and tell their friends, and that's how maybe movies can grow, and that's going away.
I mean, I think like I was just reading an article in Variety today about the Supreme like campaign, and I think that that's a really good example of that. It's like that movie made $870 million in 6 theaters, like in the last couple of days. Like
70,000? You mean?
Sorry,
I was like,
you're like thousand. Wow, it made almost $1 million in 6 theaters.
Sure.
Based on the fact that while Timmy is like a big name, that advertising campaign is so specifically geared to a type of person who they want to go see that movie. And I think that that's like, it shows that it works when you point it in a direction. Right. But that also takes a lot of thought.
And that's like the Sydney Sweeney stuff. It's like she's insanely popular and famous, but the people that would go see a movie for her are not going to see those movies that she made. Right. So anyway, I don't know. It's interesting. I do think it's all scary because we have no idea where these budgets are going. And I think, Jamaal, your answer to this question was also budget related. You said, what'd you say?
Mine was more focused in the commercial space, but it was that, you know, we're more and more so getting briefs that are like, can you shoot 8, 10, 12 commercials in a day? Or
Off the mic, you said 15 on a job.
It was 15. It included 15 commercials.
In one day.
And we had 2 days for that. But it was like...
Still 7 and a half a day, right? Go on.
Crazy. Like, that's insane. And...
I mean, 15 commercials is like 90 seconds worth of 6-second spots.
You know, but that's the thing is like, yes, some of them are 6s and 15s, but they're all unique pieces of creative that like we have to do a costume change for, and it's on a different set, and like,
unless you don't do a costume change and you don't change the lighting setup,
unless they suck.
And so, but that's the thing. It's like then that's how it kind of changes your methodology, right? It's like we were literally like block shooting this campaign, and it's like, how do we move the set around the actors as opposed to move the, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, now we're just shooting against like a flat wall. Like, this isn't interesting. Like, but we're saying the words, like we're getting it done. And I think that more and more, these are the briefs we're getting. You know, we got a brief in on Monday and it was just 1:30, and I literally was like, where's the race? It's like I was confused.
They're going to bring up social.
Right.
Oh, well, the schedule's a lot harder.
But I think it's just, you're getting diminishing returns. You know what I mean? And just a quick other anecdotal story. We were in prep on another thing and just joking with the agency because they were like, oh, we can't have this many extras in this spot because we have to pay them per spot. And I was like, imagine if I got paid per spot. You know what I mean?
Like, imagine if you made what we make.
Well, their response was like, well, you guys should unionize. And it's like, well, I'm in a union. Like, what do you mean? Like, but I think that that's the mentality to have, is like, how much can we fit into 8 hours? Like, doesn't matter if it's good, it just needs to be done.
I will say directors they get paid okay for commercials.
And I'm not complaining about that. But what I'm complaining about is like, it just seems like abuse at a certain point. And I know that that's a strong word to use, but I think when you're trying to figure out how to do your best work and be responsible to people who you're being asked to sell something to, it's like, yo, we're literally just like putting somebody up and they're reading things off teleprompter. Like, that's not serving
but
anybody.
It's not even abusive. It's like you're making the creative worse. You're making things worse because I mean, Mercedes famously said on our podcast that she doesn't shoot inserts on set.
Waste time. Do it after.
One of our most popular TikToks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And that's all about like, hey, the more things you have to shoot, the less time you have to shoot them, right? So like, let's take the unimportant things. And I don't know if this kind of I started doing a couple years ago, but like I really, when I'm shooting 7 things, I'm like, okay, this is the one that's going on the website, on the reel, on the
And the problem with that mentality, though, is that like I'm always wrong.
Yeah,
you're always like, oh, this is the one, and you're like, well, you missed the mark. But the weird one I underestimated actually is my favorite.
But maybe that's the learning lesson. Is like sometimes you overly trying to manipulate things, and the thing that you mess with the least is the best.
I think the insert thing is really interesting though. Like that was one of the solutions to this, is like, oh, we're gonna have C in it just literally
exactly.
shooting inserts.
Yeah.
See a unit.
Yeah.
Do y'all split up sometimes into A and B unit, you and your directing partner?
No, is the
No.
official answer.
Yeah.
There's a bump for that.
So like you have to get really creative of things that you're going to do. And even to your point of saying you're seeing this with commercials, that's what happened with music videos over the last couple years. And I'm like, you know, that's
say more actually.
so with music videos, it's just the budgets kept getting lower and lower and lower. But if you're pitching on it, they're not going to choose something that they think is you're like, it's one person in a room. Like, why would pitch?
Yeah, we have $5,000 for this video.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Still have to go for it.
Yeah. And so that's why it's kind of become a thing where a lot of people like, I haven't done a music video in so many years because I'm like, I'm going to pitch them something that's not good because the rate that we do things now is not what they were looking for. And so it's like, okay, a film student or someone like who's hungry and is going to throw in their rate and just pull all their favors, like that's who they should pick because they'll make their $10,000-$20,000 budget look good.
And look, I think music videos or maybe even like sketch comedy, there's a category of work where it's okay for us to be kind of like trying to prove ourselves, right?
Sure.
A commercial is not that place. We shouldn't be doing favors for mega corporations.
Yes.
This is the not to say too much, but it's like this is a thing that they're asking people to put significant money in. You know what I mean? And it's like you're not even spending the same amount of money that you're asking your consumer to like invest in this.
Sure.
Why would they spend on something that looks like this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a luxury product. You have to treat it like a luxury product.
That's what's nice about working. I feel like you've worked on these huge brands, like the MasterCards and the Nikes or whatever, like these kind of big, like the Lion King Broadway show is like, you need some money to go to see that show.
Yeah.
So you're marketing to a certain, but I feel like nowadays, sometimes the worse the ad looks, the better it performs, especially like on social media.
I want to caveat that a little bit because I think that there's our mentality of like what is good or bad is like polished or cinematic, not to steal from other answers later on down the line, but like effective is what is really good in advertising, right? And sometimes I think it's easy for us to forget that like it's not our art, right? We're here to sell a product and like authentic and be good.
And we're doing it artfully.
Sure.
It's not art.
We're practicing our artistry, but like there's a difference between but so I feel like this year I've done a lot of like stuff that's designed to look maybe by Oren standards bad, but like authentic, like native to the platform is how we would describe it.
But that's kind of across all things. Like you see a lot of music videos from huge artists purposely looking like they were shot on iPhones, and that's in style now. Or I even think with short films and festivals, like I was talking to a friend recently who's like, okay, let me go and see all the short films that made in the top festivals. And a lot of them are not polished looking because I think we've almost gotten to the point where we've seen that so much. Now it's the cool kid thing to do. Right. And especially with AI that looks like it has this really nice shaped lighting. People are like, okay, I need to look real.
Push against
Yeah.
It's almost like our generation's version of like Dogma 95.
Sure.
Yeah, totally.
It's like people are bringing that up a lot now.
And the kids love shooting on Handycam. Yeah. Like that's like, I get a lot of TikToks of how you can avoid using tape with a Handycam, basically. Like
a digital version of.
Yeah, basically, like
I carry around one of these, which is just like a little point and shoot, and it's like it's kind of nice to have like a crappy camera sometimes because you aren't worried about that.
Sure,
but I'm also not.
Can you check your Instagram on that?
I cannot.
Okay,
that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah, which is a benefit.
That's a feature, not a bug. Well, Carlyn,
speaking of AI,
yeah, exactly.
Carlyn and I both kind of talked about that.
For YouTube viewers, Carlyn is shooting me a lot.
Radicalized against AI this year.
Tell us the story.
Right. YouTube viewers are the only ones that you don't need to tell this to.
Well, I guess maybe they're probably working or something. And then
Okay.
Well, we're all kind of used to seeing like AI storyboards now, whatever. That's not great, but that was kind of like fine. There's a reason to use them. But lately I've had, and it's mainly one project, but it's happened across a few of them where like the agency gets on Midjourney and starts mocking up props and sets. And then
let's zoom out just a touch.
Sure.
Agencies are like, hey, we don't have enough money for board artists, so we're just going to mock up our own in Midjourney. Is that what's happening?
No. This is like the job has been awarded. I'm collaborating on production design, and they're like, here's some ideas that we have of what the prop should look like and what the set should look like. And so I took that originally to be like, this is inspiration. No, they wanted it done exactly to spec that the computer made. And so we would have to 3D print some of these props. And it's just, I feel like that job and some other jobs, like AI is just in the hands of some of these agencies and clients is like, this is supposed to be a collaborative art where like, here's some inspo, but like my production designer has better, this is their job, like.
And the problem is whenever you push against them, they're like, oh, we already showed this to the client.
Exactly.
So it's too late.
Look, I think to your point about having a few sips of wine and calling people out, it's like that to me is also the cowardice. It's the easy way out where
it's bad at their
easiest thing that's going to get approved.
See, I think it's different because I think you're giving these people have these tools they never had before. Like I always had to like talk to a director, and then I'll talk to the storyboard artist, and then it's like interpreted through 15 people. But now,
but we've all worked with creatives where they're like, "Hey, I don't like what you did, so I went on Amazon and I pulled specific props and gave them to you." That's taste, right? And it's our job to have taste, and it's their job to have taste. That's okay. Like, and maybe that's good taste, maybe that's bad taste. It doesn't matter. But like they're weighing in a way that's constructive and meaningful, even if it's aggravating, right?
You're also giving prompts to a computer, to a program, machine learning tool that they could just as easily find the words to say that to you. But instead they're saying it to a computer.
But there's something about images and AI that like really locks in. Like I think we were all like worried about writing or something, but I'm not worried about writing in AI like I used to be. Now I'm like, we're fucked when it comes to images. Not fucked, but it locks people into this one specific prescriptive thing.
Yeah. And the reason I don't think it's cowardice is I think these people think that they're using their taste. They're like, ooh, it gave me 4 options.
So they're ignorant cowards.
No, they're not. They're not realizing how much they're being manipulated by the AI algorithm. They're thinking that they're coming up with all this great stuff on their own, but they're really just like choosing from like 3 things,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then they're like, this is what it has to be. This is so good. I showed it to 10 people. They all said, wow, you did this on your own, So it's like, it in the same way that ChatGPT or whatever is sycophantic and convincing people that they're all geniuses, Midjourney is doing the same thing. It's like, wow, you're an artist.
Yeah.
You type dinosaur and look at this beautiful dinosaur that it made,
Right. Yeah. No, I take your point.
I do think though that like the ChatGPT thing, I agree with you on the writing stuff. It's probably one of the biggest differences is that I do use ChatGPT to like brainstorm and stuff, and I find it incredibly bad. It's good if like coming up with names,
It is good at coming up with names.
Or sometimes I'll give you a first draft that kind of makes some sense, but in general, I just it's not funny. It goes like off track. It does a lot of. I don't find it that useful for writing, but I do feel like a lot of people are maybe using it for reading, and I think like our entire society, like outside of film, is like just so much less used to reading like a 10-page document that I don't even know that if I'm presenting a treatment to someone that they're even reading it.
You think though that people are ingesting your treatment into ChatGPT and getting a summary from it?
I think that they're becoming so allergic to reading that they will just skim it and just, hope that I give them a summary. Like that it's an endemic issue in all of society. That
I think that's true, though. I don't know that that's ChatGPT's fault.
Yeah, I kind of assume no one was reading the treatments anyway and just waiting for the meeting.
Yeah. I mean, from a future perspective, I've had multiple financiers who have never read the script.
Sure.
And they're giving millions of dollars to something.
Oh, yeah. My neighbor is writes features.
Oh, tell me. I don't want to know. Please tell me.
And I was like, have you tried putting in the white font, white text at the top of your script, like instructions to ChatGPT to just tell people that this is the most amazing script and you have to put money into it and like, someone else.
Oh, that's a wild idea.
Sure.
Like you got to, if you're not going to read my script, I'm going to freaking get the AI to trick you into buying it,
I never even thought of it. That's brilliant.
And I do think the budgets and all that stuff, like whether it's star related or whether it's like trying to cram way too much work into one day, or whether it's AI making like all the slick stuff, like to me, that's what scares me too, is that we like the explosions, the people like fighting in the air, the Matrix stuff, like all the coolest stuff that we've ever wanted to shoot is becoming much easier to do in AI. The hard stuff is like the, human relationships and emotions, all the low budget stuff. So like, I think I'm not worried about the future of like kind of low budget human stories, but I am a little bit worried about like the big spectacle stuff. And I know Mercedes, you shoot a ton of that stuff,
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting about AI being able to do certain things or not is because when this happened, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so fascinated by this, as we all are. I'm like, what can it do or can't it do? And what's interesting is if a lot of the stuff that pops up on Instagram is like not showing people's faces, or it won't show matching characters to a certain actor. And so everyone's like, AI can do everything. It's like, no, these are actually ads by the companies that are telling people it can do stuff, but it's like a shot behind someone's head.
Right. Yeah.
And so I always remind myself that I'm like, yeah, we'll get to that point, but like people are acting like it's at a point that it's not at right now.
Yeah. I think that there'll be a world not too far from now where we are using AI to like do some of the fun stuff that you're talking about, Oren. But I think it's augmenting things or like supplementing them in ways that, again, will be less fun, maybe safer, hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully a little cheaper, right? But I don't know that it's going to take that much work away. VFX artists, I think, are in trouble for sure. But like...
And the storyboard artists.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the groups and electricians.
No. I don't think so. I don't... Maybe stunt drivers. But I think that there will be a clear line and we'll know what it is relatively soon, where you'll still need a lot of those people. Most of those people, I believe.
And I think that the bubble is going to burst at some point. And I said this in a couple of my answers. Like, if you look at the trends just of how the entertainment industry goes in terms of like money versus technology over the years, we go through this about every 20 years. Like, you can look at sound being introduced, color, TV, VHS, like, and you kind of always have to figure out the new financing model, the new way of working, the new thing. And I think that like this one's a little weird because it's a little more accessible to everybody, but it's still the same thing. I think we have to have the Wild West for a little bit, and then it'll flatten out. And I think to your point, it's like we'll kind of figure out what that right level is, and you know.
I wish I was that optimistic. I think the biggest thing that I
otherwise it would, like, you know what I mean? Like,
what's the other option?
Yeah. Well, but to me, like, it's made me realize how big of a jerk I was when I'm like, well, you know, electric vehicles are better than gas vehicles. So what if like the gas and the oil industry is going to lose money? They already were making too much money. They're already abusing people, and they're already ruining the earth, and they're already bad for the environment.
But you're not worried about
the coal miners.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh wait, now I'm the coal miner. Yeah.
Yeah. We're Detroit, right? That's what everybody's comparing Hollywood to.
I know. Everyone like in the beginning was like, well, I mean, when cars came, what happened to the horses? I'm like, well, it's different because we didn't train cars on horse meat.
Yeah.
Right.
But like I had an emphasis on X in tech, who, when I was talking about, I was like, I'm so scared about AI. And she's like, aren't there already too many movies already? No one had to watch them like...
Back to my... But just the assumption is like all movies are for me. That's not true.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny. You had for our next question, we kind of talked about how this has personally affected the way you work. And James, you had kind of an interesting answer to this about making things cinematic and what that word means.
Yeah, I think so. Like we get that word a lot, especially with the kind of thing that are real.
We did an episode about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was
Carlyn,
part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, was our first? Is the second number 2 supposed to be related to number 1?
No.
Okay.
No, we're just
I failed the test.
Yeah, we're just trying to.
Oh, no.
No, I was just kind of stream of
We're trying to segue,
Yeah.
but I mean, Mercedes was related to number 1, and
But yeah, we get this word cinematic, and it's like something that I'm like, I mean, regardless of whatever camera we're using, it's cinematic by the nature of what it's such a stupid word. But what it made me think of is like, I was really trying to dig into that, and I was like, all right, they want cinematic, let's do cinematic. Like, we're going to do this process like I would shoot a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
We're not going to do a bunch of setups that you can pick in the edit room later. Like, it's like, we're going to make some decisions. We're going to like work up the schedule and shoot it that way. And it's interesting.
I love that answer so much. It's definitely not what they mean.
Yeah.
It's not what they mean. No, I shot like
It's a bullshit word, but yeah.
taking their
through that
It's
process.
so smart. It's
Where you walk them through that, it's like, oh, and you're like, oh yeah, this is how I do this on the movie we shot. That's how we did it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's how Roger Deakins does it.
you know what I mean? But it's like, it makes them think about it differently.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I think the commercial production process is so wasteful, and how we're like, you guys sitting at Video Village can't make a decision. You're too scared to make a decision. Someone's too scared to say that this thing is right. In film and TV, I had the final say.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, so why don't we try it that way and see if we're happy with it? And it's like, we'll go back with a strong recommendation. We think we got this shot. And 9 times out of 10, the commercial comes back looking the way you want it to look also, because there's also not a lot of fluff that you've captured.
Yeah. I love when talking to an editor after shoot and being like, there's pretty much only one way to cut this.
Yeah.
Work on the sound, work on the music, work on the
Yeah.
And you can still, as someone who used to be an editor, you can still find that the magic in there somewhere, but it's like, let's just make some decisions, guys. Like, stop kicking the can down the road.
Yeah. A counterpoint to that, though, is I have a friend who's a TV director, and she said, I never do moving shots or like things that I think will be long. She's like, no matter what, they're going to cut it. She's like, if I have a shot that pushes into someone, I'm going to watch the show and then get upset and be like, man,
You
there's
talk to a journeyman TV director, they're pretty bummed on that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But push-ins, I mean, come on. That's so...
I mean, to that point of push-ins, like that was one of the things on this last shoot we were doing, like that the creators got really excited about. They're like, oh, I never thought about the camera moving on these lines or doing that. And it's like, well, if, you know what I mean? We plan it out and we say, when she says this, we push in here, you know what I mean? And it's like
wait till I put the wide lens on.
You know,
You guys are making a joke there. It's true, right? And also, they don't have the vocabulary or the training to understand what's possible, right? And it makes me think of like, I was on a job where I had like a bad client, like just like...
That's the thing I hired you for?
No.
That's I'm implying that I was...
It's always good when you explain it.
Anyway, the point is, I have a problem being like a little too people pleasing, and I would be like, hey, we should do it this way, or like, I'd love to try and do it this way, and realized halfway through the day, like, oh, they don't know how this is going to look, how this is going to feel, any of that stuff. So I just started doing it.
Yeah.
And they immediately were like, yes, that's what I meant. I was like, oh, okay, great. You just heard. Take credit for it. By all means, at least the spots are better.
Yeah. That is an interesting approach. Just kind of...
And look, it's
confidence too.
It is, a lot of it's confidence. It takes a lot more explaining. It's a lot more visits to Video Village. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think that, to your point about sometimes you got to pick the one spot you're focusing on. It's like, if this is where we're going to put our energy, and like, let's just do this.
Sure. And they still get to take credit for it.
Yeah.
Right? It's still their brilliance. They get the Clio, right? We get an email later on.
Yeah. Or see it on social media.
And a lot of this conversation is about like how to make something good while also pleasing clients. And, I think, and our audiences and financiers. And I think a lot of it is because we want to be asked back.
Yeah.
But Carlyn, you had a really kind of interesting answer to this question.
Which I had already talked to you about, but I am big into the Aliens franchise, as we all are, and I recently learned that Ridley Scott was not asked back to direct Aliens. Not at all. He found out that James Cameron was doing it, and Jim, whatever, called him furious. I mean, he was furious. He was like...
Yeah, Sir Ridley.
It's crazy.
Like knighted.
It was a commercial hit. It was a critical hit. It defined the genre. It's one of the greatest films ever made. Not asked back. And I guess, to me, that was so meaningful, because I'm like, if Ridley Scott isn't asked back, I'm not going to get fucking asked back. And it's not about me, you know? And so I just have to make stuff that I can stand behind, and getting asked back to the dance is not part of the success equation for me anymore. It's just not, you don't have control over it.
Yeah. I mean, my answer was kind of like in the same vein, which is that I want to stop just trying to like do what I think people want, because it's almost always the work suffers for that. And sometimes I'm not the right person for the job, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I like moving the camera, and maybe this is like a kind of Harold Einstein, like Wes Anderson-y, like static, super perpendicular type of shoot. And that's just like that's not my instincts are go against that. And I used to be like, I can do that. I'd love to try that. I need that on my reel, you know? But just kind of being a little less people pleasing is kind of what you're talking about too, Matt, is something I'm trying to do more of. Yeah, to be meaner.
Yeah. Well, and
which I tried to before on the podcast.
Yeah, that's been your goal.
Oh, you're spicier this year.
Yeah, you're spicier this year. So I had a unique experience where I was writing on a spot that Carlyn was directing, and so I got to watch you work.
Oh boy! And he has some notes.
A lot of notes. This is to answer the question. Oh, like what? I have two big lessons. One is from you, Carlyn. One's from you, James. So starting with Carlyn, you were really direct in a way that I tend to like curb a little bit too much. And like there were a couple times where you were just like, you just cut to the quick. You said what you meant, and like at the risk of people who you like and respect feeling a little awkward, maybe.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? In a way that I found really empowering and cool, just to be explicit. I was like you called some people out who were like our collaborators or bosses. You were like, hey, I think that this is like, you're doing this wrong. And I'm going to say that.
Right.
I want to do it.
Don't even know what you're talking about. I love it.
I think
I'm sure
You tell us if we can keep this in or not. But like, you're talking to like, a higher up at the company.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, no, I think we planned on doing it this way. And then you found out like, oh no, for budget reasons, we can't do it that way. And you were like, I don't think it's a good idea or a good use of time to spend this amount of time with a celebrity shooting their hands.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Because you had to nail a celebrity for
Yeah.
a limited amount of time, and you
To Mercedes,
Yeah.
the Mercedes of it all, we were talking about, we needed to shoot inserts, and because it was a stack shoot, it was going to be expensive to get someone else's hands was going to be expensive.
Yeah, and I pushed for it.
So, and they were right. It's expensive, but also we shouldn't spend 5 hours shooting phone inserts or whatever with a
an A-list
superstar.
celebrity. Like I'm not going to ask this person to. Okay, now move your hand a little. Okay, like move it.
put your elbow on the
That's
seat
like
stand.
thing to put your foot down about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point up, now down.
Yeah,
now left, now
we
right.
didn't know what the UI looked like yet. Like
Right.
we would have been like,
It would have been an hour and a half.
it would have been an hour and a half of like, of stuff that we would use 5% of it.
Right.
Right. So you were right. And also so is the producer. Right.
Yeah.
But like, you were like, this is a bad idea and I'm going to say it. And I saw you do it. And I was like, hell yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that feedback because Mercedes, as another woman, it's like I do have this constant fear of like being difficult as a
Oh,
woman.
totally.
You know what I mean? It is like something that specifically female, maybe people of color, I don't know actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, very much so.
Any minority.
Think because there's two of us too, that it's always like only one of us can be bad cop at a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't want to scare the good wife.
It's nice to have a partner.
Yeah.
Right. You get
Billy, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's something we're very
Interesting.
conscious of. It's
Yeah.
It's like Bash said your shots.
it's usually me. I'm usually bad cop. Right?
But like to that point, I had an experience recently where, because I'm the same way, I'm like trying to keep the peace, I'm working with these people for a long time. And they were just doing something. It was just not okay what was happening. Like it wasn't ethical. It wasn't like a good way to work. And I finally got upset, and it takes a lot. And I was like, no, we cannot do things this way. It's not okay. And they finally listened to me.
Right.
And I was just like,
producers you're talking about?
this
or
was
like
a producer.
Okay.
And he's finally like, oh, well, when you say it that way, like, we got it. And I'm like, man, I wish I didn't have to get to this point. I wish you would have just listened to me say the same thing when I was being nice.
Say it that way.
And I'm like, but now you're respecting me more that I'm like being kind of a dick about it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that way, but it was like a very weird experience for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we wasted a bunch of time.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why do we have to get to this point, man? Like, all right.
We're the experts, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
just to do a job. Like, do you guys find that often? Like that you're getting to that point where you feel like you're losing control of the set a little bit? And like you have to navigate how you want to put your foot down rather than like kind of focusing on.
No, but I wish it was that easy because I've also had the opposite experience where I've had producers at Monitor who have an idea about something and I go, oh my God. Like I had something where it was a story thing where they're like, we don't want her to wear glasses. Like she's not hot without glasses. I'm like, it's a very important story point for them to like find the glasses later. And that's like a plot twist. And so I was like, you know what? Instead of arguing with this producer, I'm just going to do a take without the glasses. And then I put the glasses back in the cut and he didn't notice.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
I would say both things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that the privilege of commercials is like, you can be like, yeah, we can do it both ways if you want to pay for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Totally.
my money, but
But features you can like, fine. I'm like, we'll just do it so we don't talk about it more and take longer. Yeah.
Choose your battles.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've done the commercial thing where I'm like, well, okay, yeah, let's just do it both ways. And then we don't have time to do it both ways. I'm like, well, we can't do it both ways. So like, okay, well, only do it our way,
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think where Mercedes is different than probably most of the projects that we're doing like on a monthly basis is that you're probably way more in control of the final edit than we are.
Yeah.
And
It depends. Who the
then
people.
so to us, it's like, it's scary to give them the things
Yes.
that they wanted on set. Because sometimes I just had this shoot where there's a line that just makes no sense in the edit, but like the creatives really wanted it. And I was like, I don't, and I convinced her kind of we didn't need it. And then at the end, they're like, can we just do one take with it? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll just do a take with it. And of course it's in
That's the
the
one.
cut. And it's
Damn.
and it's not that it's like, it's so bad, but it would be better without that line. And I don't even think that the creative team thinks it's better. but they feel like it's theirs, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. It's
I mean, you brought this up on the show weeks ago now, but like there's a mentality of shooting for the director's cut, right? Which is not possible with features, but like the version that's on our websites can be the version that has the version that you like. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wish that the DGA was stronger on this in the way that they are in film and TV to like protect for director's cut.
Mhm.
It's interesting because I have such an editing background and spent so much of my career like in that room. It's almost like that's where my directing comes from, you know?
Mhm.
So the agency is always surprised when I want to be around for the edit.
know.
Yeah, you're like,
And I'm like, so what do you mean? Like we would all want to be.
or they'll just be like, hey, there's a color session tomorrow morning at 8. They like, do you want a link? And you're like, I need to talk to scheduling.
Well, can I see a cut first?
Yeah.
So we get really annoying about it. This is one place that we do put our foot down. It's like, I'm telling you, it's better if you just let us give us a day. You know what I mean? And we'll show you how this is supposed to look and be and feel. And 9 times out of 10, like we get something pretty close in the end. I think I might have said this on our episode, but I always feel a little bit of a failure when the director's cut is not the cut that's on broadcast. You know what I mean?
David Sheff
Like-
says that too.
I mean, he's my boss.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like I heard that.
But I think that's the thing. And it's like, he's another one, but he's also very involved in the edit.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like
just getting your hands on soon. I know. It's
important.
one thing I tried to change for this year, but kind of failed miserably at, is I really was like, I'm just going to make a director's cut like right after the shoot.
just do it.
Yeah.
Because it's also easier
nice
for
thought.
Yeah. But then it's like, and even today, because I kind of had a day off ish, and I was like, oh, I have literally a list of like 7 things on.
Everyone, it's December 22nd. So it's a couple days before Christmas. Warren had a day off.
I know. I'm like, man, more time to do things.
It's also my colonoscopy prep day. Include that in my intro.
Busy day.
But I was like, oh, now I need the color grade. I need the audio stems. I need the this.
Sure. And then, forget about it if they're VFX in the spot, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I got to transition actually.
Yes.
So the other big takeaway of stuff that I want to, my New Year's resolution for the next year, basically, it stems from you guys, Jams and Bash. I feel like we had a really great conversation about branding and about kind of like how you position yourself in the marketplace and how you kind of took the bull by the horns, which I've been really focused on a lot this year. But the thing that you guys do that's special is you position yourselves as filmmakers at large, whether that's commercial or TV or features, in a way that never muddies the water. Like back in the day, it was like, oh, you were either a TV person or a commercial person or a film person. And obviously that's changed since we have come up.
Ridley Scott was a commercial director until he made Alien.
David Fincher, all sorts of great people, right? But like,
Michael Bay.
but
Yeah.
there are name brand people who kind of get to bounce around. But for the most part, for the last 5 years, 10 years, it was kind of strategically sound to be like, this is the thing I do because I'm trying to make a living or whatever. Right. And you guys really explicitly break that mold, but in a way that feels cohesive. And that's what I'm getting at. It's like, oh, the commercials imply what sort of films you want to make. TV in like, so my website used to be like sketch comedy and and there's a branded content and all this stuff. And now it's just straight up commercials. And I'm going to bring back that narrative before that inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
tour.
Thank you for saying that. It is a thing that a little bit happened by accident and necessity, because when we left the agency full time, it literally, because we got signed to a production company and because we got a TV show at the same time. Sure, it literally happened one day after another.
Well, there you go. Right.
So it's like the work stream just like started going. It's like we had agents and we had reps, But I think that the brand, like we're so brand focused and like, how do people talk about you? How do they see you? How do they see your work? That it's like, we also do a bunch of commercials that don't fall into those buckets. You're just like, no one sees them. You know what I mean? Like we don't talk about that stuff. And
it's like our
Do you do consultations?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
How to brand myself.
Yeah, but it's just like, and this is the segue, right?
It's like,
Can I buy you lunch?
it's got a drink. We can talk about it, but it's like, it's part of it is like, you have to give people the tools to talk about you in the marketplace. And that is, I think, what we spent a lot of the last 2 years doing that, I mean, figuring out how to
put it on a t-shirt.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's so good.
But that's funny because it's like you're taking that concept of pitch the pitch and applying it like to the world.
To everything. Yeah. It's
Right.
like, this is how we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I think we're all pretty good at pitching an idea to someone in a way that they can pitch it to someone else. But you're saying pitch ourselves as a human and what's cool about us in a way that people can explain it to someone else.
And then what you get is a lot of stuff is like, oh, we thought about you guys. This seems like a thing you would do. Like, this is like, oh, I was reading this and it seems like a Jams and Bash thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it makes it easier to get
Yeah.
to
Well, like I've had it.
Videography job, Jams.
I mean,
Well, I've had it where I've gone in generals and people have been like, okay, well, like, what do you want to make next? What's the thing? And I'll be a little bit more vague about it. And recently I've been like, no, I need to be more specific of giving people adjectives. And then they'll actually send me scripts afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm just been like, oh, that's been a huge, I've learned that in like in the last couple months.
I'm
like,
kind of into
wow.
tent poles right now.
I used to say Alien was my favorite movie as a comedy director, and it is
What's your
Alien. But like people are like, oh, hey, what's your favorite movie? I'd be like, Alien. Now I say Fargo, and it just
Yes.
kind of everybody's like,
Yeah,
You should-
because people think they're like, your favorite thing is what you make. It's like, it could be multiple things, but for branding
I contain
purposes.
multitudes. But
Yeah.
I thought our third question was about what people are concerned about for 2026. And I think kind of the things that bubble to the top are obviously AI and also like consolidation of it's funny because AI to me is like about, it's the opposite of consolidation. It's like democratization of like everyone can make movies now with this tool or make good looking things.
Pretend
with this
to make
tool.
movies.
Yeah. But consolidation is like, hey, let's make way less stuff.
right.
Do you guys think that those are both issues that we have to contend with?
Consolidation and AI.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
Let's start with consolidation.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I didn't say that, so
Jams. You
Yeah. I mean, it
I didn't say that.
was me, guys. It was me.
He's like,
Yeah, but yeah, exactly.
But yes, that's what we're talking
I
about.
think
Yeah.
it's like less buyers leads to less innovation, right?
Sure.
And it's like the less stuff, the more people at the top that can just make the same thing to stay there. And that's scary. Like, you know, the joke I've been telling for the past couple of weeks is like, by this time next year, we're all going to be working for one company just called advertising. You know what I mean? And it's it kind of feels
to make pretty cool things though.
I mean, Omnicom is named like that's the most
it's the perfect
right.
science.
terrifying.
It's like, have you guys seen the Maze Runner? The evil corporation there is called WCKD, like Wicked, basically.
right.
Oh, I was like, why?
Yeah.
But I think it's like, it's just, it sucks. Like, but at the same time, like I said earlier, it's like, I think it will even out. I think that we are going through a transition period and like, we gotta just make sure we're ready to meet that when it does, you know what I mean? And we can figure out what the new normal is. I don't know that it's going to be this year or next year or what. I know we're not supposed to talk about 2027.
We don't do that.
Directors do not talk about 2027.
But you know what I mean? It's like, it's we're all trying to readjust. It's like we've gone through such a pandemic, strikes, like in LA, fires, all that.
Trump.
You know what I mean? No, Trump, the economy, tariffs.
Yeah, it's real.
And it's like, it has to even out at some point because otherwise society is just and maybe society will crumble. I don't know. But
Well,
it doesn't. then-
Commercials are the most volatile because they're so short term that we react immediately, right?
Yes.
Like it'll be like in the pipeline for a while, maybe it shut down,
Mhm.
maybe it, whatever, it doesn't
Yeah.
become released at once. But like, 3 weeks from now, you'd be like, oh, everyone's scared about spending money because of tariffs or whatever it may be.
I mean,
And all of a sudden we're out of work. Right?
we got a Super Bowl commercial pulled that like a couple weeks before we're supposed to start prep because of something that was said in the government in a press conference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, that's wild. It's wild that it's like having this trickle down effect in this way, and it never has before. And it's shaping the kind of boards that you start to see in the market because you're like, we don't know if this is going to be cool to say in like 3 weeks. You know what I mean? And not from like a PC way, from like a government.
Like, oh, will this be lucrative? And
Yeah,
every-
Yeah.
Well, nowadays, they're like checking your social media history if you're like a foreigner coming into the country.
Yeah.
Like they're literally looking at people's phones, like what tweets you like. I'm like not liking anything unless it's like very like as unpolitical as possible. I'm just like, it's just weird that our internet, history is like being used against us. And
But also starting at Hunger Games too. So it's like we're straight through the rabbit hole.
I'm great at throwing jabs.
What's funny is, Carlyn, you said that you didn't say either of those things about the AI or about the consolidation, but what you did say is that you're
Talk
worried
about money.
Yeah, you're worried about
Yeah.
a race to the bottom, which to me is kind of related to both
That's
of those
true.
things. Is that, what do you mean by that? Is that like in terms of budgets?
Oh, yeah. I just think this year in particular, and I know you guys know this, but I just was asked to cut my rate a lot this year and never really before. So, look, sometimes we get asked, but almost every job they would ask.
Do you feel like your rate was higher than what the
No.
market's expectations were? No.
No.
Yeah.
You know, we used to get paid like 10% of the budget.
Right.
I don't know that happens
Yeah.
anymore. But and again, it's not just directors; it's every department. It's not.
Right.
It's not specifically a director thing, but it's just the budgets are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Are you
That's
seeing that
same
too,
with movies.
Right.
Yeah. No, I've been asked to, like, my agents have negotiated a whole thing, and then people are being asked to renegotiate
Yeah.
Yeah.
because value is changing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the movie I was talking about earlier, we were just in BA contract negotiations on just like the dev part of it. And it was like through that 6 months, because it takes fucking forever. It's like just seeing the numbers, like just overall, just like drop. And it's like, oh, it's because no one knows what's going to happen with this election. No one knows what's like what they're buying in what territories. You know what I mean? And it's wild. Like,
But also the costs of everything, right? So
Yeah.
like you have $4 million to make a movie that was pretty amazing like 10 years ago. And now it's like you can't do anything that you wanted. You know, it's like a low
Yeah.
budget film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen any flip side to it? Right? Is there any positive to like, because I feel like contraction and consolidation is mostly bad, but there is a little bit of rhetoric I've heard around like it's squeezing the people at the very top, right?
Mm.
Like if you only do Super Bowl commercials, that's rough, right?
yeah.
But like in terms of like elevated social or like so stuff that's like, you know, 6 figures, but like not a huge payday. I feel like there's maybe more of that work out there now.
Yeah. I think it's hard
Interesting.
because if the people at the top, it's like they might go, oh, I can't do this anymore. Or they're just accepting jobs that they wouldn't have accepted for 10
And
years.
I think that's what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I do think people were at times overpaid, right? It's like when we talk about budgets now, like a movie might be $100 million and 15 of that goes to actors.
Sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and some commercial directors are fucking making millions of dollars a year in profit share. Like, that's crazy. Like, that doesn't need to be the case.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like kind of capitalism 101, right? Like if
I
they
guess.
if they are uniquely, if Spike Jonze directs an Apple AirPods commercial or something and he gets Pedro Pascal to be in it and that makes way more people watch it, right? Because it's got a movie star in it and it's unique in some way and it's airing in Times Square or whatever. Like maybe he's bringing that value to bring that awareness. I mean, I don't know that people didn't know about AirPods before that commercial, you know, but
Yeah.
but it's to me like the top 1%, like the fact that The Rock gets $70 million to be in Red One or whatever is crazy.
Did you say
But
70 million?
I think he's the highest paid actor ever in a movie, and I think it
That
was
is so
that movie.
crazy.
But
That's fucked up. I'm just going to say it.
yeah, but really, but where we live is in the 99% between that top 1%, right, and the bottom. So yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people that maybe did make a few $1 million in their commercial career and were like, now I can retire, and then they're like, oh, but everything is so expensive now. Now I need to work again, and it's like, yeah, actually, Michael Bay's going to direct this one instead, you know, because all of a sudden he can use a few extra bucks.
I mean, I think
it's a competition gets tricky.
I think it does get tricky, but I think, and I don't want to sound like an asshole saying this, but I think the people who can't hack it or maybe shouldn't, you know, like also get squeezed out. And like, there's a lot of times where I've talked to people and they're like, it's just like, it's really hard to do this now. And it's like, yo, it's always been hard to do this. Like,
Chose hard jobs.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're all playing. If you can't, if you can do it, like, okay, maybe it's not for you. You know what I mean? And I think that, like, again, maybe this is my fucking warped optimism, but I think that is a nature of it. It's like, that's the kind of reshaping of what the industry is we'll see who can play the new normal.
Yeah. And also, if someone doesn't want to do that, it's like, kudos. Like, don't put yourself through that.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Like, if that's not making you happy in your life, like, don't do it.
I am addicted. I have no other choice. I wish I
Same.
could stop. I can't.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know what I do. Yeah.
If you guys made a 10% of what you made, like on average over the last 5 years, over the next 5 years, would you still be doing the same?
I'll be real with you guys. Like, we had a really bad year this year, like really bad year, to the point where it's like, I should probably get another job. You know what I mean? And you just got to keep fighting. You know what I mean? Because like it swings back. like we were going to have one of the best Decembers and Januaries like ever, because all of a sudden like stuff is open. Like we're crazy booked right now. But it's like having the kind of like wherewithal to fight through that. It's like I didn't shoot anything from June to like November. Like crickets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is why I think like it's
And that is normal, and yet
And also,
it's terrifying.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but it is why when you get paid a lot for a job, it's because you worked on 10 jobs and you only ended up getting paid for one.
Yeah, but it's like we also like, I mean, again, this is my situation, but it's like we're a duo. So it's like it's automatically split down the middle. Like we have a bit of an apparatus around us. You know what I mean? It's like we're
twice the job.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like we've got people we got to pay to do things. And like, you know, for a while we had PR and like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to figure out how to get really lean and still do the same level of service, like still do the same creativity. And, you know, I don't think that's for the faint of heart. Like,
Right.
I follow this, I was telling Matt this, but I follow this actress on Instagram named Sam Valentine, and she's like a really good actress. She's booked a ton. She lives in LA. She's in SAG. She's done TVs and films and, you know, commercials. And she does like kind of tells actors like, hey, here's some tips on auditions. She's just like kind of a acting influencer. And this week she posted how much money she made this year, like every month from SAG jobs. And
I saw that.
yeah, and like January, it's like $11,000 from residuals from being a co-star in a show. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. And then February, like, oh, $164 residuals from a commercial or whatever. And you're like, okay, well, that's a down month. March, you know, $500. Then like, you know, April, $0. June, $0. And in the end, it added up to like $25,000, which, yes,
it's not
everyone who is not a professional actor would be so stoked to get $25,000 in a year to act, but you cannot live off of that in any way, shape, or form in LA.
Yeah. Well, like advice I think that young filmmakers should get is just because you got one amount of money at one point does not mean that's consistent. So like, let's say you had a year and you're like, I made $200K this year. It's like, do not spend that. Like next year, and you might have nothing. Yeah. So like, that's just our industry. It's not an escalator like other industries.
That's the worst thing about like financial advisors and our accountant, Chris, and Carlyn and I share. He's always like, so how much do you think you'll do next year? Like about the same, a little less? I mean, like, you're like,
I don't know. So should we roll some dice?
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah. And then I think we all kind of, AI is a little scary. But what about being things that we're optimistic for? Mercedes, do you remember what you said for?
Remind myself what I said.
You said horror movies.
I said horror movies are strong. Yeah, I said that. Yes, it's the fact that, you know, people are like, people don't go to the theater and this and that. I'm like, but people went to the theater to see so many horror movies, and like that's really cool and exciting. And so like, you know, it's
which horror movies?
I mean, Weapons was amazing.
16.
Yeah, one too, like together, and that's exciting because I'm like, okay, we're still making stuff because, you know, we're talking about all these things that scares us. And I do think it's important to talk about like, okay, but what's the thing that people are still doing actively?
Yeah. So, and because you work in that genre, you feel like like the demand for what
going to see the thing that she likes to make. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that, you know, it's like that thing led to like 6 other things. And we're like, you know, maybe like one of those things will go when it's supposed to. But I'm like, people are actively like making horror movies.
But how does that tie into the first thing you said, which is, I feel like horror has kind of always been this genre that's famous for not needing stars as much. But now you're saying that
no, they do. Yeah. Like, for example, like, you know, can't say too much about it yet, but like I have this movie that I'm on, and it's fully financed, but it's fully financed if we get value cast attached, and it's a horror movie. So it's like a weird thing where it's like we are seeing.
Is that a symptom of the size of your budget though? Like if it was a lower budget, do you feel like you had that sort of?
But I've also worked with producers who've done lower budgets, and they're like, next time we have to get stars. And so it's like, it's just, it depends how low you're talking, right? If you're sub 1 million, I don't think that matters. But if you're above, people care. Yeah.
It's funny. I feel like everyone that's like made a movie and is like, we didn't need stars. And you go to your premiere, you know, you have your friends and family. You're like, they said we needed this, so and so and so and so. And we said, we're just going to go just shoot it. And we made our movie and it's amazing. And it's got these great reviews. And then you start getting the festival rejections, you know, and then you're like, damn.
Totally.
Or the distributor. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, I don't personally think people need stars, but I think that financiers think you do. So that
I mean, I don't know. I remember one of my first jobs in LA was like being the stills photographer on a shoot indie film that Reed Morano was shooting, and it had Jesse Eisenberg in one scene, and everyone else like you wouldn't recognize. and they had a deal that they could use his face on the poster. And it's like, and the movie was fine. It was an okay movie, but it was like, oh, Jesse Eisenberg is in this. And this was like right off the heels of like Social Network and stuff. It's like anyone at Sundance that sees the poster for this movie is going to go try to get tickets for it.
Look, you need external validators. You need to figure out how to like tell people, hey, this is good, or this is real, or this is whatever. But there were other things that one can do to, whether that's word of mouth, right? Or a hooky premise, or festival laurels. There's other ways.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's why I don't believe in that, but I'm like, other people do.
Sure.
But it's funny because when I go to Sundance, just as a movie lover, and I'm picking, okay, what movie should I watch? I purposely will pick movies that don't have stars in it. Because I'm like, if they have stars in it, they could be here because they're amazing, or they could be here because there's a star in it. But if there's no one, I'm like, they're just here because they're awesome.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's funny. I think the answer to the fourth question about the thing you're optimistic for in 2026. I mean, yours is very specific about the horror, but I feel like a lot of the other, you also said this, and a lot of us said that like some of the pushback against like AI and technology is kind of refreshing. Is that like, what did you mean by that, Jams?
I mean, I think you see like civilians who are like, it looks weird. Why does it look weird? You know what I mean? And it's like they're starting to notice that it's like there is an uncanny valley with a non-human made thing. You know, like I'll never forget somebody talking about the Coca-Cola commercial, the AI commercial. And they're like, the wheels on the fire truck were very strange. And it's like,
Wait, but this is not a film person?
not a
Then that's
not
That's cool.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's starting to crack a little bit. And again, like, I don't think it's going away, but I think that there will be a bit more of a value ascribed to like, this is something that was made in a certain way. And I don't want to be looked at as a Luddite because I do believe in technology. I just think that we have to figure out what, again, like I keep saying this, like where the balance is going to come. And I think that when public perception starts changing around it, when they're realizing that like you're going on Netflix and like you literally can't watch everything because it has everything, you know what I mean? It's like, or you can't watch anything because it has everything. And it's, you hear people start to say that and it's like, oh, then they're going to stop subscribing. Sure. Or they're not going to buy into it. And like, that's when there's some change. And I'm hearing that more and more and more.
Well, like the McDonald's AI ad that got pulled recently.
Exactly.
I'm like, that's so cool. I saw that and I got so excited. I'm like, oh, people are doing it. Like, it doesn't seem like we're doing anything. They're doing it.
I said I shouldn't have been so excited to tuck into the trolley comments lambasting that weird McDonald's spot from the Netherlands, but it was downright delicious. I was
Kudos for lambasting.
Man, I was so excited. I was like just reading the comments. And brands are reactive and agencies are reactive.
But do you think because of our bubble, like we are like uniquely around people that would react negatively
But
to AI?
I think we have been in our bubble. And this is the first time I've ever seen a spot get pulled.
Yeah.
You know,
What was tell me why the McDonald's ad was pulled?
Because it was creepy.
It was bad. I mean, people just hated it. It was also like one shot.
it was about how Christmas is shitty.
And there's one shot in particular that like a woman gets caught in a bus and dragged across the screen violently.
That was really made by McDonald's?
Yes.
No way.
Yes. And I'll
was
tell
like
you
a
off mic who the directors are because
You know them?
yes.
I'm not going to say yes or no.
Weirdly quiet during this whole conversation.
It was Oren Kaplan.
Yeah. Well, Matt, you had an interesting answer to this question.
So what did I say?
Probably the most optimistic answer.
Well,
You might want to write it on a hat.
Oh.
Yeah, the thing I'm most optimistic for in 2026 is features.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Well, so maybe to back out a little bit, we've talked about this on this annual episode many times. Like I've been incubating a feature for a long time. And I think this year, I put it off for a couple of years for various reasons. And this year I felt like I had a decent year, honestly, but there was that feeling of like the AI of it all and just like the grind and the struggle. And I am enjoying myself very much, but still like, I was like, oh, I sold out. I'm doing commercials exclusively, and that job could go away in a year. So what am I even doing? And so I refocused the feature that I've been kind of putting off for these last few years. I'm in crowdfunding it.
You are?
I am.
Okay.
Well,
Cool.
Is WeFunder still crowdfunding?
It's regulation crowdfunding. Yeah. So for people who don't know, WeFunder is like a website that basically lets you solicit investments, basically.
Okay.
And so it's not like Kickstarter. It's not like, hey, here's $25. I'm going to send you a t-shirt. It's like, no, you're going to own
a part of the-
own a part of the movie.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
it's a business part.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways you can slice it up, but yeah, it's a rev share sort of situation
Yeah.
basically. So investors would make 100% of their money back and then split with production 50-50 thereafter.
I have multiple friends who've gotten things funded that way.
I funded a movie that way, and I was like weird about not like doing it that way. I was like, I don't know why I don't want to do it again, and then I'm doing it again.
Wait, so you've done it and it's worked.
I've done it and it worked.
Matt produced a feature.
I produced,
Gotcha.
yeah. But like the budget was low,
Right.
but also that movie is on Peacock, and we sent a check out 2 days ago. Like we continue to send like every.
It's profitable?
It is not in the black, but we are cutting checks.
It's making money back.
We are making money back. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That movie was a Christmas movie, and so it has longevity of like it's every single Q4.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's what I'm excited about.
That's why you should make a weekend movie.
I'm working for the weekend. I don't know,
Well, we weren't going to ask this question, but the fact that Matt kind of brought it up, like, do you have any goals, Mercedes, for
or a filmmaking resolution, maybe?
Oh, filmmaking resolution?
maybe
Well,
38,
it's funny.
40 by 20?
It's just like speaking of resolutions, instead of having like, I'm going to do this specific thing or this specific project, I like thinking of more like, what's the type of thing? Or like for my own personal New Year's resolutions, I've started doing one word. So I'm like, this is my year of fun, or this is my year of work. And it sounds cheesy, but it actually like
No, it's great.
lets me know what I'm focusing on. And not to sound cheesy on this, but my word of this year is hope. And so I'm just like, I just want to keep
That was
believing the
25.
film. It's going to be 2026 because things are so hard and we're so scared right now that I'm just like, I want to just keep doing what I'm doing and just keep like, I'm like, I love movies and I just want to keep making movies. And yeah, it's simple, but that's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a good word. Carlyn, what about you?
Should I say a word?
No. Well, you can do whatever.
What do you think?
Feel free to curmudgeon
Life.
out a little.
You know, when you were saying that, I thought of a word, quiet. That's my word.
For
I
the
don't-
type of work that you want to do?
No, I think it's not even a career. It's more like I find myself having a hard time being creative without space. I just kind of like envy when there wasn't the internet, weren't phone. You know, like what was it like to create
Kelly,
100
right?
years ago?
Just like go teach a class and then make a movie every 18 months
Yeah.
and then Pacific
A room of
Northwest.
one's own. Is
Yeah.
what you-
Can I tell you, we had Joseph Kahn on the podcast and we were talking about pitches or treatments or something. And I think I asked him about like where he finds references and stuff. And he was like, I don't really use references. I just kind of like think of what like I want to shoot. And then I like tell people,
Yeah, that's cool.
And I was like, oh, that's an amazing thing, which I'm realizing now that my word is going to be related to that. So I'll let you finish your.
I will say one other goal, and you guys know this, but I'm saying it just for what's this called? Accountability. I am going to make a proof of concept short this year. I have to do it. I put it off this year, and I need to do it.
It's a good thing to do for yourself.
You're like,
Yeah, but now I'm refining the features, so I may tweak the short.
The beach one?
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is it a weekend movie?
Oh yeah, yeah, sure.
That's your pitch. Yeah.
it's a long weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, James?
I like that we're doing this word thing. No,
I know. It's cool.
That was good.
You ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, mine is it's focus. Like literally, that was what it was going to be. Is focus. Like, I think the past couple of years, Bash and I've been so like, yes, we'll do it. Wait, what are the details? And then it's like we have so much stuff that it's like the important stuff's not getting done. Like last year, our big focus was like we just need to write one thing that we can raise $1 million. You know what I mean? So like, how do we get that one thing? And it's like we didn't have any time to do it.
Yeah.
Because we were like saying yes. And, to my point earlier about having a down year, it's like, I kind of know what the bare minimum is that I need to survive. You know what I mean? And like, now it's about focusing on this thing that like, this is going to bring me joy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm done with the survival bullshit. Like, what's the joy?
Do you,
Oh, yeah.
as a duo, do you feel like you and your partner Bash are kind of in the same direction? Like the thing that the project, you're everywhere, everywhere.
Do you ever disagree, or are you always?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been working together for 15 years, so it is some version of the same thing. You know what I mean? We have had to come up with a mechanism to not distract each other with the ideas that we are both like passionate about. You know?
Tell us more about that. What's
So it's
some-
like we'll be like brainstorming on a brief that we got, and it's like one of us will be like, "Yo, you know, it'd be hilarious if we made a movie about this." And then like 3 hours later, we've gotten like fucking half a treatment down, and it's like, okay, we need to focus. So now it's like write it down. When it's real enough that like you would talk to somebody else who's not me about it, then we can kind of chat about it. And that's already kind of created some space because we're very good at like what I call the like 1-page notebook ideas, where it's like I bought a new notebook for this and I then like forgot about it kind of deal, you know? But it's helped. And I think like now it's like, how do we now make the space to go back to those things that we were really passionate about and like see them through, you know what I mean? Or find the one thing to see through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Kaplan, have you fallen back in love with commercials? I feel like everyone else here we're kind of like, well, we like commercials, but also we should go make a feature.
No, honestly, we had this episode where Carlyn and Tom Morris were on, and our friend Tom has 5 kids, the oldest being 4 years old. And
It's just a hurricane of blonde people.
yeah. And he shoots a ton of commercials. I think he did like 30. I think he did 29 jobs, and he was like lamenting to me. He's like, oh, it would have been so nice. It's funny because I talked to Matt and Carlyn too, and everyone's like, "Ah, it would have been nice if it just hit
Just like
one round number."
One more job that I wouldn't
You're like,
nice.
It's so irrelevant. But so he did 29 jobs. I mean, this guy is so busy, and he's like, "Hey, I just did this kind of big photo job. Like, I'm gonna maybe take the money from that and make my feature film." And I was like, "Are you insane? Like, you have 5 kids, yes." And I was trying to convince him not to do it. And I think by the end of our conversation, he kind of convinced me why it is a good idea to do something other than commercials. I mean, Mercedes, you're pretty passionate about the work you do. And I think we're passionate too, but it's in a different way, in a way where, I mean, you're kind of like,
But the thing is,
money job. She just has to
but
do
that's the thing I was going to say is like, I love commercials. Like when I do movies, I'm also like, every time I do a movie, it takes like a part of my soul because I'm just like, oh my God, like my body has memory of going through this experience. And when I do a commercial, I'm like, it's so nice to like not care about something where it hurts me if it's not the way that I imagined in my head and theme that I wanted to say. And so it's like the grass is always greener. I'm like, sometimes I'll be a future. I'm like,
you like Jones for one or the other when you're not doing the other one.
Totally.
You know?
Well, I guess what Tom convinced me though is that that I'm giving 100% of my soul to like commercials, and like it would be nice to give my soul, even if it was 10% of the time, to like me,
Yeah.
something that I care about.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that. Like I was the weird kid who graduated film school and was like, I want to make commercials. Like I want to do that. And like there is a world in which I never made another movie. Like I would be perfectly happy doing commercials because I do have a true passion for that puzzle. You know what I mean? For that thing. But I think it's right. It's like you get burnt out on it. But at the same time, when we finished our doc last year, I was like, I never want to do this ever again. I just want to go on a 1-day shoot and have 3 hours with
Exactly.
talent.
You just want someone to be like, what are we doing again? And you'll
Totally. Like, you're like, I get to sit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is nice to be taken care of.
I think it's nice to know what your pilot light is a term I've heard recently of like, oh, like that's the thing that keeps you going.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going to kind of get distracted here or there or have to make sacrifices. But like the thing that gets you up in the morning. And I think it's wonderful when that's your job and also your passion. Right. And like filmmaking is always a little muddy when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I think my word for 2026 is imagination, because I do think, kind of related to what I was saying, I am just like so obsessed with finding great references or generating them in Midjourney or whatever that I'm not taking a lot of time to just like do the Robert Rodriguez thing and just like close your eyes and picture what this might look like. And I want to do that more. And I feel like I get migraines every once in a while that it's pretty consistent when I have a treatment due. Like I'll get a migraine, they're pretty 1-to-1. And I do think I just get so stressed out about like finding the right thing to show the right people at the right time in the right way, like the presentation of it all. And it's, it's just like every single time it's like a competition. So
It's so draining, the treatment process. I mean, it's like it's our jobs, but damn, if I'm doing like 2 or 3 in a row, I'm not happy.
I remember you
I'm a
texted me
bitch.
the other day and you're like, did you hear anything about this job? And I was like, no. And you're like, because if I have to write one more thing.
I'm out. It's not worth it.
It's hard. It's
hard.
It extracts something from you. It's like the creativity on demand thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
It also sharpens our pens though, guys.
I know,
It's true.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But I think that there is it's different than kind of the longer gestating process of like writing
Yes.
a pencil, developing an idea. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, take this idea, make it better, go. You have
Yeah, sure.
24 hours.
So, like, I don't-
wow us.
The call
Yeah.
is 1 hour and then
Yeah.
it's due in 2 days. Yeah.
Totally. Or like something I found on features is because there's such little prep time. They're like, you have 4 weeks to prep this movie. And I'm like, but I need time to just like be in the shower and think.
Oh, yeah.
And so what I'll do is like before I go prep with all my department heads, I'll just like have 2 weeks where I'm like, I'm not talking
Just
to anybody.
showering.
I'm like for 2 weeks. But kind of it's just like just walking around and being able to ingest like a book and have an idea or see a picture, just like you said, like close your eyes and you're like, if I can move the camera in any way, like what would I do?
Yeah.
And it's important. It's important to have space to have that.
He
Yeah.
was on the podcast and he was like, his exercise was if I could only move the camera in one way, like if the camera was always 2 feet off the ground, and like sometime, and
Wait, who is this?
Pete Chapman.
Oh,
So it is, it is kind of nice to just be with it. But to me, like, I guess the imagination of it all is about, like, I think I get stressed because I'm just worried I haven't exhaustively searched the internet
Yeah,
or
thought
the
of every
world.
single-
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I remember when I was first learning how to pitch, like I came and I was like, hey, just reading the treatment to like a group of people or whatever. And they're like, do you think like when Michel Gondry presents a treatment to people, he's like just referencing like 40 other commercials, or do you think he's like, I had an idea?
No, I've heard him complain about this. He will pitch an idea and then he'll be like, oh, it's like Brazil. And then he gets mad about how everyone thinks he's referencing Brazil.
Are you serious? Is
Yeah.
that a-
Yeah, it's a Terry Gilliam movie. Have you seen?
Yeah.
They're like, and you're like, oh yeah, that is like Brazil.
Or like I have a friend who works at a social media company and their job is to come up with like, TikToks for musicians and this and that. And they get really annoyed at their job is because they have to have a reference of like another social media video to artists. And they're like, but good things are like new and fresh, but like they're like, only if there's another video like it, can we even suggest it?
And so
Yeah.
many agencies that give you stuff like
the
that.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
we want you to shoot the cell phone commercial. Do you have a cell phone commercial you've already shot?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even as bad as like, hey, there's this trend where people are doing like spin transitions. Let's do that.
right, yeah.
And you're like, okay, it's 10 years old.
We all have eye
Yeah.
candy accounts.
Say that on the call. Movie creatives are like, oh no.
Matt, I know your answer to this question was features, but now that you've heard a
Sure.
roundtable of one word for the year,
Right, I think that's still the word.
you're sticking with it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so.
That's confidence.
Oren, have I brought up the David Lynch's book, Catching the Big Fish?
I don't think so, but I think that's John August wrote.
No, that's Big Fish, the movie. But Catching the Big Fish is like it's very, very readable, but it's David Lynch talking essentially about transcendental meditation and how he approaches creativity. And he thinks of ideas as like fish and like he's going fishing for ideas. He talks about going to Bob's Big Boy and having a malt and, just like, it's kind of the opposite process to what you're describing, I think. It might.
That's cool. Maybe
Yeah.
check it out.
I think you might like it. You could read it in like
What's this called?
Right.
Catching the Big Fish.
Is this your unpaid endorsement?
It's crazy that I haven't endorsed it. We've been doing this show.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about him and the transcendental meditation, but I don't know if we've talked about that specifically. And it is nice because
You read it in his voice too,
Yeah.
right.
Can I
And
tell a
then-
quick funny story about him and transcendental meditation?
Yeah.
When I was in film school, my job, I was a projectionist. One of the movies we projected for the first time was Mulholland Drive. And I was like so excited. I was like, David Lynch is going to he's talking to us.
David Lynch is coming to.
Is coming. I had we got the instructions.
You're like, I
you know what I
get
mean?
paid,
Projected it on film. And I'm going to hear him talk about the movie afterwards. It's like, they didn't even have it at Cantor Film Center. They had it at Village East. I don't know if you guys have been to New York, but Village East is like this kind of big, ornate cinema. And we all go out to hear him talk afterwards. And the entire talk is about transcendental meditation. And it's a bunch of 18-year-old film students being like, wait, what? But the movie.
I hope none of them asked him to explain the movie though, because he gets mad. He was mad about it.
But it's one of those things that now that I'm 42, going on 43, I'm like, that was one of the most valuable experiences I ever had, is hearing this man talk about ideas and focus and how meditation gets you to a certain place. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know.
Merging with the infinite.
It's awesome.
It's good measure.
Thank you.
Do you guys think just because we're all kind of Angelinos? I mean, you're raised here.
Yeah.
And
I would consider myself an Angelino.
Because this was my answer. The thing about I'm optimistic about 2026 is I do feel like, despite all the trouble with filmmaking, I do feel like LA is make it, not that it's making a comeback, but I think people are realizing the value you get from shooting here, at least in the US, compared to going to other countries where you're like shooting a Christmas, commercial in, Australia, and it's like, or South Africa, and it's like the wrong season,
Yeah.
And I think I'm just hearing more and more people are talking about LA, being reminded how good LA crews are.
Yeah.
And cast members just saying like, hey, I want to shoot next to my house,
And just the stuff too that we like, it's a town that's so set up for this industry that it's a shame that money got in the way. My wife's been on back-to-back shows. I hear she works in costumes, and one of them was a sketch show but had a lot of period costumes, you know what I mean? And the fact that like you have access to all that stuff.
Yeah.
She's talking about like going to like the Warner Brothers like costume room and like Universal's costume room, and it's like all that stuff is here for us to use.
And that's it's a natural, not a natural resource, but a resource.
Yeah.
Sure. And as our prop houses are going away, like that's decades of investment and work that like once it's gone, and then you can't get the vintage typewriter you need anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are other cities, I mean, Austin and Atlanta and Vancouver and Toronto and Mexico City, they're great to shoot in, but like you're like one of our really good friends just did 2 movies in a row in Vancouver and in costumes, and she's like, it's like night and day difference.
Sure.
Yeah.
To bring it from other places.
What you can get, the rentals, the returns, that it's like the city is built for film. And I think people are like, okay, well, it might cost us like 20% more to shoot in LA, but the product is like 100% better,
I always say like also LA is the city where you could have like a second or third generation like key grip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that kind of knowledge is irreplaceable. Like, and you don't get that in New York. Like, it's not the same spirit, it's such a company town that, I'm glad things are coming back a bit. We shoot out here quite a lot, and I try to push that as much as we can, but it's something that means a lot to me,
Yeah. My first AD has been in the business for a while, and he's like the guy that I shot this thing in January that was like a shower scene for a commercial. And I was like, I've never shot that. I don't even know, like, does the water actually touch the people? Like, is there steam? Is it a fog machine? Are they naked? Are they not naked? Like, and I was it's like when you have the people that have done 1,000 commercials, you could call them and you can be like, hey, how do I start thinking about this? And like, I think a lot of times in these new production cities, you don't have that like 100 years of history.
Yeah.
And it's so invisible to even us, right? Like the people who appreciate the craft so much, like on that job that I was talking about where it was like, oh, this client's kind of rough. It was in LA, and like the magic trick that our art team was able to pull off when it's low budget, when they don't have any resources, when things weren't prepped properly, you're just reminded like, oh, like there's so much skill there that we take for granted, or that you don't even, when you're in other places where that apprenticeship and that mastery isn't there, it's you're just frustrated and you can't put your feet on the fire.
You only realize when it's hard that you're like, these people are so, I didn't even realize like how easy it was because of all this happening. Yeah.
You just think you're good at your job.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, should we move on to unpaid endorsements?
Yeah. Unpaid endorsements. So my unpaid endorsement, I mentioned off mic, is fire extinguishers, because I had a small kitchen fire a day that I was throwing a party. Did you know this, Oren? Did I tell you that?
No, but I think this is like 10% better than your endorsement of whole milk.
Yo, show of hands, how many people here have a fire extinguisher?
I have like 2 fire extinguishers.
Mercedes didn't have one.
Mercedes.
I didn't.
Now I will.
I didn't mean to shame you. I didn't have one the first time I had a fire. It freaked me out real bad, and I immediately bought one. So the second time I had
you own your house.
I own my house.
Is that not like, I think like even in the inspection, they're like, hey, you should have a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
My inspector did not say that, but I had one already. Basically, like there's a little bit of like grease or something that got pushed into the bottom of the oven. And so like, a little flame came out, started smoking. And like, I was like, oh, I know how to deal with this very easily. Pulled up the fire extinguisher, popped it once. It was fine. Called everybody. They came over and they said, oh yeah, this is okay. But like,
who did you call? You called everybody.
I called like the fire department.
Oh,
first,
really?
He didn't call you, he called me.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, Carlyn, heads up.
Wait, you called the fire department for a fire you'd already put out?
Yeah, because I was like, it was still smoking a little bit.
Is that normal?
So here's what happened. I called the firehouse directly and was like, hey, here's what happened. What should I do? And they were like, we can't give you advice officially. The only thing you can do is call 911, and then we'll send some people out and they'll take a look. And I was like, that's overkill, but okay, because it was still smoking a little bit. I just wanted to make sure.
Wait, did you not say how much will that cost me?
I did. I mean, it's free.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like,
Send
okay.
10. Send
And I was very calm. I just called them back and I said, hey, here's the deal. This is what's happening. 4 strong firemen came over and they looked at my thing and they were like,
calendar months.
yeah, it was February. But no, just like 4 like firemen. You know what I mean? Like these are guys who are like ready to like rescue a cat or chop down a door, whatever it takes. And I was like, guys, this is embarrassing. I already put it out. I explained everything, but I want you to just double check. And they did. So I guess I'm endorsing the fire department.
Okay.
And
Always a good
also
endorsement.
make sure you have a fire extinguisher for real.
And then
That is important.
just a question. If there is a little fire going on in your oven, can you not just like close the oven and like the oxygen will run out?
I did, and then opened it back up again, and it flamed back up again.
Oh, really?
Backdraft.
Yeah, exactly. yeah, exactly.
I learned that from a movie and Universal Studios.
That's right.
Experience.
That's okay. Backdraft isn't around anymore. It's just Waterworld. It was scary.
It was good.
Yeah.
When they like make the fire dance,
Yes.
they do the
Tornado.
stuff.
Damn, I didn't do that. Did you do
Yeah.
that?
No.
Me neither. Never been.
I think when I asked, is it still around? That's like 30 years ago.
The Miami Vice stunt show
Sure,
became Waterworld.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Waterworld's still going though.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mercedes,
Nice.
what's your
Mine is Photoshop beta replace tool. And so, because in a lot of my
Have
pitch,
pictures of betas.
so let me, so in a lot of my pitches, like a note I've gotten is, you pull all these different images and I'll tell a story of a 3-act structure and people be like, we want a character that we can like see go through all this. And I'm like, oh my God, I need Jenna Ortega like falling from a building like midair. Like this doesn't exist on shot deck. And so what I've started doing is in the past, if I wanted to replace someone's face, I'm like, that takes me like 6 hours to do on Photoshop. I'm like, I can't do that. Now it takes me like 20 minutes because I can just like get rid of the background with it. And so it's made my pitches more clear
Yeah.
of like
Oh.
tracking a
Wait,
character
so what's
through what
the
I'm talking
tool?
about.
Replace.
It's in Photoshop beta. It's the replace tool.
Or is it? There's also the remove tool.
Yeah,
that they added
that's what I meant.
Okay,
The
yeah.
remove tool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
or you can replace with something else. But the remove tool. Yes. Yeah.
Which they always, not always, but like in the most recent version, you would select the thing and then you'd hit generative fill and
Yeah.
whatever, and like that's what you would use for generative fill
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Now it's just one button.
Now it's just one button for remove and it's free, whereas like the generative tool is not free.
So yes, and Oren
Yes.
turned me on to Harmonize. Are you using Harmonize as well?
Yes, I am.
What's that?
It works sometimes, but not other times.
It's the thing that I'm the worst at in compositing. So like you're like, hey, I put a cat into the shot or whatever, and you're like trying to like match the black levels and get it all right, and then add a shadow to it or whatever. Now the same thing that used to take you an hour or whatever, you hit Harmonize, and it just kind of like does that
Yeah,
general finishing,
exactly.
but it adds a shadow to
in
like
Photoshop.
in Photoshop.
Yes.
Or like
and it was
we'll add
what-
a reflection. Like if you took a picture of a bottle of wine and you put it on a picture of a table and hit harmonize, it would like make the reflection, the shadow match the lighting.
Could you ask ChatGPT, which I hate, to do that same thing, or would it not work?
No.
It would be worse,
No.
way
No,
worse.
this is like very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
you literally you can drag the thing in, and like,
Yeah.
it's just like it's all the hard and technical parts of Photoshop are just now much easier.
You could ask Nano Banana to do it, but it's easier to do it in Photoshop.
Totally. Or like a common thing I'll do, I'll be like, man, there's a crowd, but there's 2 people in the scene that I'm pitching. So I'll just like remove people from the shot deck image. And I'm like, now it looks like it's the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this
Yeah, I
is
might
like good
say-
AI.
This
Exactly.
Is good.
Yeah. Because it's not replacing anyone's job.
No,
It's just
like,
taking what we're already doing and making it better.
It's
Yeah.
also depending on which AI model you use, but if you use the Adobe one, then it's not trained on copyrighted
Right.
material, but it is worse.
Yes.
What
That's
do you got?
Mine's a real woo-woo one. You ready?
Yes.
Words of affirmation. And I'm going to be specific. I think this year I've been trying to like, specifically in auditions, when I am fighting for someone who we don't ultimately cast, I've been writing them on Instagram and just saying like, hey, you crushed it. I fought for you. Like, you were so amazing, blah, blah, blah. And it's just everyone that writes me back being like, nobody ever reaches out to me. Like, this feels so good. Thank you so much. And then I become friends with some of them. I directed one of their sketches recently. And even this like agency producer last week, I was like, you're awesome at your job. You're crushing this. You're such a delight. Thank you so much. And the next day she was like, wow, that was really meaningful. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's just so nice to hear those things. And I just think if you think it, you should say it.
But
So
Yes.
I love that endorsement, but am I the only person at the table that thought you meant something totally different when you said words of affirmation?
I don't know.
Did you not think?
I thought you meant talking to yourself in the mirror,
Yeah,
being like,
even
"You're
more-
amazing."
Oh.
But I was also like, "That's also great."
like having,
Yeah.
I love language is words of
like
affirmation.
Yeah.
mantra.
I love language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's like, I'm sure I've told us.
I want everyone to buy me presents.
Yeah.
Is that one?
I was at the
Good
coffee
thing.
shop and we saw this actor that I had auditioned and called back, and he was really close. We put him on a veil and stuff, and we ended up not casting him. And I saw him at the coffee shop like 6 months later, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going? You're Michael, right? I'm Oren. You auditioned for the Samsung thing, and like I really wanted you, but then they wanted someone else." And then he's like, "Oh, cool, okay." And Kara, my wife, was like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
Really?
Yeah, like you're
But I think
just
that's
attacked
great.
this guy in the coffee shop who barely remembers you.
No, I think that's
I bet
good.
later on he was like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because it
Or
shows
no-
that you like made an effect on someone's life.
Yeah.
You made
Yeah.
something else. Like, you know.
They get rejected. We know how hard our jobs are. I mean,
Totally. Yeah.
No.
Or it's like going up to people after screenings and being like, "That was
Yes.
amazing."
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
screenings is different though. I love this, Carlyn, and I think you're 99.9% right. Being married to an actor
yeah.
is a little bit of like, they don't understand the reasons why they don't get cast have nothing to do with how good or bad they are.
Right.
That's the tricky thing. And like, I don't even know that they care to learn that. You know what I mean? Like it's almost
Maybe
easier
too
to believe.
depressing.
Yeah, it's too
Or
depressing.
It's harder to know how close you were, and it's like, but the other person had brown hair, you know, or whatever. Like,
My wife just shot a commercial 2 days ago, and she's a redhead. And she showed up that morning. They were like, "We're dyeing your hair brown," and she was like, "Oh, okay." And they were like, "Yeah." And if you say no, we have somebody ready.
no, and they seriously said that.
They didn't. There was not a threat,
But it was.
but it was like, "Hey, heads up! Like, hair and makeup is ready to do this for you."
Was it temporary?
They said it was. Is my wife's hair
By the
brown
way,
right now?
Yes. I would highly recommend that actors listening, if this happens to you, like you should say, "Great, let me just talk to my agent," and then you just show me in writing like what the bump is for this. You know, like
Yeah.
you should get paid
Sure, you
extra
should get
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But cool.
Yeah, her hair's brown right now.
Absolutely.
That's a crazy move to not like use a wig or like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think what happened was that at the fitting, someone got like a bee in their bonnet and was like, "Oh, we need to," like, we didn't realize she's redhead. Even though like obviously every single
Yeah.
person.
Guys, do you think you have problems trimming a redheaded person?
Yeah, sure.
Dude, I know.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, great. Sorry. James, what you got?
I'm going to cheat. I have two. And these have actually changed through our conversation because I've been inspired by what we're
nice.
talking about. The first one is a place in New York called Akuri Sauna. It is a new Japanese sauna that just opened in Greenpoint and in Williamsburg. And it's become part of my daily ritual.
You go to a sauna every day?
Every sauna cold plunge. Like,
whoa.
Whoa.
and it's been really weird. I've been out here for like a week and a half now, and it's like I haven't done it, and I'm a little shaky.
You're like, I'm not hot enough or cold enough.
But it's also like it's
Wait,
the place.
stupid
where-
question.
Yeah.
Cold plunge first and then sauna?
No, sauna first.
Ah.
So I'll do like 15, 20 minutes in the sauna, 2 minutes in the plunge, and then kind of like cycle, do 3 or 4 cycles.
And then do you have to shower after this?
You shower before and after. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
a lot of
it's like an
showering.
hour.
It's an hour.
Mercedes would have so many ideas.
But
Yeah.
that's what got me thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like, this has now become my idea time because can't take my phone in there. It's almost completely silent.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting and thinking. And
Do you take a notebook?
I don't take notebooks. I always have this thing that's like on me. So if I have something I can't remember, I can go to my locker and write it down.
You just
But-
Like Siri.
But it is like, I think I started doing it because it was like my recovery needs to get better being on set. Like being on set 12 hours a day, I come home, I'm sore, my back hurts. Like
Sure.
I like have all these injuries from playing sports growing up. So it's like it started as a recovery thing, but it's actually become a creative thing. And it's something that I think if you can find a thing that's just like your piece and it's like 1 hour a day that's non-negotiable. Like I have to do this. It helps me do my thing. And I am also very rigid about things like that. When I'm like, I'm doing something, it's on the calendar, it's like here. But it's been really, really helpful. So that's the other one. And then the other one is I recognize the irony of saying this on a podcast full of directors, but there's a book called The Genius of the Studio System by Thomas Schatz. It was a book that was written probably 60s,
I went to NYU too. Or wasn't he a teacher at NYU or was he UT? Maybe he was a UT. I went to NYU, but
Is that the book you brought here?
No, it's not the book I brought.
Every film.
But
One films for one acting school.
But what the book has brought me a lot of comfort in is it talks a lot about the economics of how movie culture works and the cycles that the industry goes through.
Sure.
So like as we've gone through this dip, I can kind of say like history showed us that this kind of happens and this kind of is like, I can see the evidence in it. I'm a big like the indie movement happened in the 90s. Like why did, this
I think we're due for like a 70s paradigm.
But that's what I'm saying. So that's
70s was the best era of cinema ever.
Everyone's gonna be freaking out.
Yeah. And that's what the data would tell you, you know what I mean? And I think that this book is really interesting. I don't know that I agree with all the stuff. It basically posits that like the producers were the real geniuses, not the directors. Sure, your mileage may vary. But I think that for people out there that are wondering what is going to happen with our industry, it's a book that like, even though it's very technical and kind of textbooky, it has brought me a lot of comfort, So
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Nice. I have so many because we haven't recorded for a while, so I'm just going to choose a couple.
Your best 2.
My best 7. No, I'm going to choose.
Because the tank is going to run dry.
No, for sure. I'm not going to use all of it. But
He always has ideas for this. I'm always struggling. I'm like, I haven't seen anything.
Tell me about your bagels, Oren.
Yes.
okay, bagel. Have you guys heard of these things? They're not bialys. They're round. They have a hole in the middle. They kind of look like donuts, but they're boiled in water.
Oren one time endorsed
It's a
cutting the middle out of a bagel.
To reduce the calories. And I said,
Yeah, to cut. It's a round thing and
for you.
anyhow.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Okay, here's 2. One I'll just do now because I feel like it's kind of an end of the year thing. So a lot of people post end of the year videos. Like probably one of my last postings, because I haven't posted on Instagram a ton lately, has been just like my year in review of 2024. And I just post a shot from something I shot and then like some BTS footage. And I realized now that like just after every shoot, it's just I should just unload my phone from like the last week into like a Dropbox folder for that project. And so that like, if you ever want to, if you want to do like, hey, here's all the things I worked on over the last year, here's BTS and the final spot. It's just a really easy way to organize that. Otherwise you're like looking through your phone and trying to figure out when you shot that selfie. But also when you're pitching or when you're like, oh, I worked with the dog before, or I did this thing with Kevin Hart or whatever, you can, instead of like searching through your phone to find it, just organizing it. Like as soon as you're done with the project, everything on your phone for the last 2 weeks, just put it in that Dropbox folder with it. So it's just an organizational thing.
Can I put a pin in this? I'm curious what your take is like the end of the year post, like the BTS, like because I've been contemplating it. Yeah, I was like, who would like this? You know what I mean? Like, a bunch of selfies with the celebrities you worked with, or like a montage of the work you did, or like there's not a version that doesn't sound gross to me.
But I mean, you can think of all social media like that, but then also we all ingest it, and also it lets us know what people are doing. So it's like I feel like we just kind of have to get over ourselves and be like, okay,
you know,
exactly,
This is what Uncle Bob got up to.
Have you seen a version that you like?
I like it.
This is really
I don't even know if there's a version, but like sometimes I'll just go like, I didn't know this person was going through this, and it's just nice that people just have this place to share that. And I'm like, I'm glad I knew that. Yeah.
I have the same reaction like today because, everyone's doing it like right now. All these production companies are like, look at all the things we shot this year. And if you worked with them, it's nice to see that your thing's in there. And if you didn't work with them, it's, nice to know who to try to have killed.
Try to have killed.
Well, my budget for the top tier hit men or not is kind of low. But I also think it's not as much for other filmmakers as it is just for like Mercedes thing. Maybe your family is like, oh, look at all these cool projects that my nephew is working on, or agencies or production companies or friends, or I don't know. It's always nice to remind people that you're a director and a filmmaker and you do these things. And sometimes you don't love the spot or you don't have a great behind the scenes thing. But what Vince Pionu, one of the owners of Art Class, told me, I'd shot some spot that I thought had so much potential, and I was so disappointed with how it turned out. And I was like, it's such a bummer. And he was like, it's got a celebrity in it. Just think like you have like a couple shots from here and a couple shots from this thing and a couple shots from this thing. And like as part of your like portfolio, it's kind of a nice piece. So I think when you do, hey, this is what I worked on this year, it's like showing your portfolio of the year. And there's something, I don't know, nice about it.
I think there's a world too in which like one of the things that, and we've never really pulled it off successfully, but it's like, that's where you can show that you're a human. You know what I mean? It's like, here's some work, here's some like family stuff, here's me doing like a thing, you know what I mean? And like make that kind of carousel or collage or like saying that's like, this is me, Matt, as a person, everything I did this year. Some of that was directing. Some of that, you know what I mean? And then the other, like, the thing I was trying to crack last year and just like gave up was like, what were all the like bad ideas that didn't go anywhere? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's fun.
And just like the kind of like dump, you know what I mean?
These are pitches that we didn't get, but I was excited for.
Yeah.
You're just like a weird idea that
Yeah.
like, you know, didn't happen. And just like, because I think that there's something fun about at the end of the year, just like, fuck it, like this is who I am. You know what I mean? Where it's like you kind of play the character all year and you can break that fourth wall a little bit. But I think I've never actually successfully pulled it off, but I feel like in my head, that's the most successful.
I like
A lot of work.
It is all.
But that's why I'm saying if you organize it and then you literally just took your favorite shot of the spot or 2 shots and you being silly.
And you like
behind-
edit a video.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be good because it's like kind of a quantity over quality type of thing,
Yeah.
you know? And you try to keep it in like a minute or something, you know? Like try to keep it really fast.
Or it's a carousel of images or something like Vince did that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's easy. It becomes easier if you have it in mind while you're going through your year. My other one was an interview with James Cameron on The Town, another podcast. And he talked about how, and now I don't even remember who it was. I think like Bradley Cooper was supposed to be the lead of Avatar or something. He was like really excited for him. Was it Bradley Cooper?
Matt Damon, wasn't it?
It wasn't Matt Damon. It was some actor that
I've listened to this interview.
that he specifically called in and was like, hey, let's do the take. And he did the take. Oh, Matthew McConaughey. It was Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And-
But it wasn't for, it was for Avatar. Yeah. It
And
was
he
for
was
Avatar.
he's like, great. You want to do another one? And Matthew McConaughey is like, no, I feel like that was pretty good. And James Cameron's like, oh, okay. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for coming. And he was super excited about McConaughey coming in for this, but he didn't cast him. And he's like, to me, the audition is, it's about take 2 and take 3. And it's like really nothing about take 1. So the second someone is like, doesn't seem interested in wanting to like play with it.
Yeah.
Then I'm kind of out. And
I feel like there's a little bit of like the team failed McConaughey in setting the table for like, hey, this is going to be a half hour. We're going to work together. Like an audition. If you're a workaday actor, sometimes the audition is you come in, you give them 2 different tastes, and that's that. Like when we audition actors, most of the time it's like that. We're never like, oh, I'm going to take a half hour and like have a conversation with you about your character, right? We're not James Cameron.
Yeah.
But like, so if someone had been like, hey, Matthew, just as a heads up, think of it more as like a working session, maybe he would have.
He has a reputation, though.
yeah.
As a Texan, you would know. Yeah.
But I thought what was interesting about him, and I know he can be kind of tough on people, but what he said in that interview about like what he gets from auditions.
Wait, are we talking McConaughey has a reputation? Oh, because Cameron has a reputation
I
too.
thought you were talking Cameron. Yeah. But check it out. The Town James Cameron interview.
Was it recent?
Yeah, because he talked about Avatar, the third Avatar that's coming out.
Yeah, it was like right before the Warner Brothers thing got
Yeah,
really
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
He talked. They were
Because that's all I hear anymore is on The Town is the Warner Brothers situation.
But it was right
Townies just dropped though. That's what I was
The
listening.
Townies, I listened to that today.
What's that?
Yeah,
That's their award show.
it is good.
Yeah.
I think Matt Bellamy's a great reporter. Like,
Yeah.
He is.
like, it's like that kind of old school, like getting the.
You're like, all right. He's a ball buster.
He is a ball buster.
Wait, Matt Bellamy. The other day I called him Bill Bellamy. Who's that?
That's Bill. He's from. He was a
Bill
comedian. He's famous from How to Be a Player.
yeah. Be 60 years old. Well,
I was also on Any Given Sunday. But
well, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Shows how old I am. Well, thanks. How do we find out more about you, Mercedes?
You can follow me on Instagram at Mercedes Bryce Morgan.
Cool. Carlyn?
Send a pigeon.
A quiet one.
A quiet one. Carlyn Hudson on Instagram, even though I'm trying to do less.
Yeah. And you guys both have pretty good websites. Yours is not your name, though. Yours is like Film Mercedes.
MercedesMorganFilm.com.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Jamaal Parham, Jamaal Parham, Parham on Instagram, or at Jams and Bash on Instagram. That's also our website. Our website has not been updated in a very long time. So, but I'm working on that.
No, you're enjoying everyone. Thanks. You should, my advice on that is just the top 3 videos. Just only worry about those. Don't worry about anything else on your website.
I know.
Well, you have a complicated website. right? Can you update it yourself?
I can update it myself. It's just like, we can talk about this off. It's a whole complex because it's like, it's my all or nothing thing where it's like, well, now we got to redesign them.
Sure.
That you don't have to. That's my message. Well, awesome. Well, you can find us across all social media at Just Shoot It Pod. I'm at O Kaplan.
And I'm at Mr. Madama. This episode was edited by Kevin O'Yang. Thanks, Kevin. Our producer is Tyler Small, and our social media person is Lily Bouvier.
And if you want to email us and you have any questions for any of our wonderful guests, you can email us at justshootitpod@gmail.com.
And you're listening to music provided by the Free Music Archive and the artist Jazar. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Happy
New Year.